I don't buy into a 24-hour day. That's an archaic time frame. You and I live in an age where 100 years ago, if I wanted to get something done, I'd have to write it down somewhere, stick a stamp on it, or put it on the back of a horse a few hundred years ago, and you'd get it in a month, and then you'd translate and get it back to me in a month. Now I can text you in 3 seconds, but we're both going to manage time in 24 hours. When I was in school, I had to go to a library to research something in a thing called an encyclopedia, and then write it all down, type it on a typewriter. If you make one key mistake, you got to redo it. Now I can Google it, print it out, and it's done. Yet the same time frames are managed, and so that's insane, right? I can email, I can text, I've got all these things on my phone. So we're still operating the same time construct people did 50 years ago, 100 years ago, 200 years ago. That is insane. So I have a huge advantage in my life that my days are mini days. I have 3 8-hour days in a day. I get 21 days in a week, 21 days in a week. And so my first day is 6 a.m. to noon. It's your expectation of time. Here's the thing. When something is scarce, it's more valuable. Okay, so that's why a diamond is worth more than a piece of paper, because it's more scarce. When your time becomes more scarce, it becomes more valuable, and other people treat you with more value. So that's one benefit. But my first day is 6 a.m. to noon, and in there, I'm trying to get in there the amount of productivity, joy, business, fitness, whatever it might be, that I would get in a 24-hour day, compressed and manipulated that time into the 8-hour window. Why? Because of all the technology at my advantage. Now, there may be some days that's a Netflix and chill day for me. I'm not saying you have to be hyper productive. And so the second day starts at noon. And in that second day, I'm trying to get the same amount of stuff I would get in 24-hour day in my 6 to 8 hour window. There's 6 a.m. to noon, noon to 6 p.m., and 6 p.m. to midnight. Now I'm going to sleep in there, I'm going to get rest, I'm going to have laughter, I'm going to have faith. But now what happens is at about noon every day, this thing goes off in my head, and I evaluate. What did I get done? What do I need to double my efforts on? What can I celebrate? What did I learn? So when an average person does it at the end of their day, I'm doing it at noon, and then I'll run it again. And so I'm getting 21 days a week. You stack that time frame up over a year. When you get 7 days, and I'm managing time this way, I've compressed and bent time, I'm probably going to win. You stack that up over a year, 5 years, 10 years, and all of a sudden I've had all these more days. And here's the other thing, I just get a longer life. I'm getting multiple lives in one life, simply because I've taken control of what time looks like. So they used to be 8-hour days, they're now 6-hour days. And so I get more done oftentimes by 10 a.m. than most people will get done in a 24-hour day. You were born to do something great with your life. And when you were a little boy or a little girl, there was probably one person who made you feel that way. And you ought to give yourself the gift right now of who's that person. When you were a little girl or a little boy, they made you feel special. And there's probably only one, maybe two. Maybe it was your parents or your grandmother or grandfather, a coach, a religious figure. There's someone that was in your life and that you felt something about you because of the way they looked at you or spoke to you. And the amazing thing about that is they were right about you. They were right. You're supposed to do something great with your life. And the reason it makes you emotional when you think about it now is because it's true, and truth vibrates at the highest frequency. So if you're listening to this or watching it, it's like, have that reminder, give yourself the gift, honor them with who you become. Honor them with the life you build, honor them with the choices you make, and take that belief and use it as fuel in your life to have some strength and confidence to shift other people's lives. Listen, there's a pace and a rhythm to success. Here's something no one talks about when it comes to success and being productive. There's a rhythm and a cadence to it. It's an invisible thing that the people that are winning somehow have found themselves. It's hard to express, but they found a rhythm and a cadence to their life that creates momentum in their life. Momentum's a major magnifier in life. When you get momentum, but there's a rhythm to it. And when you sort of aren't disciplined with your time and a meeting runs over 10 minutes or 20 minutes, you are not in the rhythm of success. There's a pace. It's not hurried or rushed, but it's a little quicker than most people know. Successful people walk a little faster. They're in a little bit more of a hurry. They talk a little faster. There's a rhythm and a pace and a intensity, a passion to the dialogue and the conversation, and it's invisible. And until you find that, you're not really in the rhythm of hyperproductivity or bliss or success. When you're around people that possess that rhythm, you feel it. Too many people schedule 1 hour long meetings if we're going to be tactical. Most meetings don't need to be an hour, but we schedule them an hour because everybody's always done that. So my team knows, is this a 28-minute meeting? Is this a 5-minute meeting? Very rarely are they hour-long meetings, because when you have an hour-long meeting, now you're pacing yourself to fill the hour in. But I've only got a 6-hour day here, so there's a lot of 28-minute long meetings that other people are taking an hour to do. We're just that much more productive, that much more efficient in our time. And so that's how you actually get the day done, is because this 1 hour concept, isn't it? You say, I'll meet you at 9 o'clock. I got 9 to 10 blocked off. Well, why? Most meetings don't need to be an hour long. Most business meetings don't. Most conversations don't. And that, by the way, will give me more time. Maybe my lunch is now an hour and a half with a friend because I've bent and manipulated time in I call them mini days. And it's also eventually what I've found is, like I said earlier, people now respect my time a little bit more. You can create your own version of a mini day. Maybe you're going to have 2. Maybe you're going to break your day into 2. You know, me, it was 8 hours and I've moved it to 6 and I felt no difference. But I love that time clock. There's not enough time. Most people evaluate their goals, like really productive people, they'll do it at the end of a day. In the middle, maybe the end of a month. How did my January go? And you know this, most people, it's the end of the year. So most people's a year. Some will do it a month. Really productive people, maybe the end of the day. I'm doing it 3 times in a 24-hour day now. The breakthroughs, the learning, the course correction, the strategic moves I make that get me back on track when I'm off track. And my bad days are only 6 hours long. So that gives me permission to shift at noon. Okay, this is a new day. I get a do-over. I get to start again. So it's just a matter of using the time construct that fits with technology in these times. And by the way, there are sometimes, my friends, I need to go deep and we need 3 or 4 or 5 hours. But I know there's a lot of times in life, like, you ever have that friend that doesn't know when the text exchange is done? You know that person, you're like, all right, it's over now. We're both going to go now text other people or do other things. I was in a meeting a long time ago with Alex Rodriguez, and I'll never forget, he's a gracious dude, he's a good dude. But our meeting was supposed to end at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And I remember at about 12:58, he looked at his watch, and it gave me a cue. And at 1 o'clock, he just stood up, kind of in the middle of the meeting. And that signified the meeting was over. And it wasn't rude. His team just knows when the meeting, time's up, we're done. That's how long it is. And setting up those kind of disciplines and kind of barriers around your life, guardrails around your life, protects your time. The higher you climb, there's all this other stimulus happening in your life, right? So if you don't create those constructs now, when you get to a point where like you get the things you want in your life, the demands on your energy and time only increase. I've watched a lot of people climb to a point, and when they get to that point, they didn't create new structures around them to support the next level. Every level you climb requires a different type of energy and structure. And I've watched a lot of people get to a place and then they can't navigate that next level because of the structure, maybe the lack of a team around them, quality people, management of those things. What most people think is, I'm going to produce this thing and then when I get there, I'll figure it out from there. That stagnates your growth. You've got to be preparing and expecting that growth and creating the structures around you to facilitate it so it continues to flow. Bye.